Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I want to add my support for the opening up of the coastal plain region of ANWR to responsible energy development. This proposal makes sense on a number of levels. From an economic perspective, opening up this small remote area will provide potentially billions of dollars in federal revenues alone over the next few decades, which could be used to chip away at our staggering budget deficits that we're facing. And new development will be a boon, certainly, for Alaska, a state that's struggling with high unemployment and with its own budget shortfalls. Opening up the coastal plain also makes sense from an environmental perspective. Energy development in the United States meets some of the most rigorous environmental standards in the entire world. This is especially true in Alaska, where responsible energy production has occurred for decades without undue harm to the surrounding environment, including polar bear and caribou habitats. Much of the credit for this environmental record of responsibility should go to recent technological innovations. For example, thanks to modern drilling methods, developers can access hundreds of miles of oil, subsurface oil, while occupying just a few acres of surface land. As companies continue to innovate, the environmental and financial cost of energy development will fall even further. But perhaps the biggest single reason why I support the opening of the coastal plain is because it's widely supported by the people of Alaska, and particularly the Inupiat, who actually live in that part of the refuge. I'm a strong believer that local input should play an outsized role in land management issues. People living in, on, near the land in question should have the most significant say in it. The people closest to the land deserve to have their voices heard and deserve to have their wishes respected. Coming from the state of Utah, where the federal government owns nearly 2/3 of the land, I fully understand the frustrations of Alaskans whose lives and whose livelihoods are subject almost constantly to the whims and wishes of well-connected interest groups, regulators, and politicians in Washington, D.C., thousands of miles from where the people connected to the land themselves live. So, Mr. Rexford, in your testimony, you articulated these frustrations very clearly, very passionately and eloquently. Can you talk about the importance that we should take into account, the importance of incorporating local knowledge and input in major land decisions, including decisions like the ones that we're discussing today?
Yes, thank you, Senator Lee. I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yeah, can you just talk to us a little bit about the importance of taking into account local knowledge and input, the local sentiment, the sentiment of people immediately affected by the land when making decisions like these?
Yes, thank you. And I would have to say that also what brought about the technological advances was the participation of the local government on the North Slope and their stringent rules and conditions and stipulations that they put in place to ensure that this is done right. And living in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is troublesome in the sense that we have limited access to our lands, to the mountains during the summer season. We cannot travel over the tundra without disturbing or harming the tundra because it is wetland. But throughout most of the year, it's frozen, and we use snow machines to go to the areas where we need to find what we are looking for.
So you experience the land differently. You have a deeper familiarity with it than say, somebody in Washington, D.C. would have, and that has an impact on the way you view it and on the way it should be managed.
Yes, very much so. And we care deeply about the caribou, about the polar bear, about the whales, more, more than anything else, because that is what gives us our livelihoods. We are a strong subsistence community, and much of what is caught, if we have an overabundance, is traditional knowledge to share that abundance with first the elders and those who cannot provide for themselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.